Hello everyone, it's Andrew from Gem TCG here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about all of the supplies that I use in my eBay and TCGPlayer stores and how I'm able to get them at the cheapest price possible. And just for a quick spoiler, I'm able to ship all of my items below 10 cents per package, so stick around if you want to find out how I'm able to do that. And also, if you have questions and need help starting and growing your eBay stores, I have a Patreon and the link is in the description of this video if you are interested. But without further ado, let's get started on the video. So there are a lot of supplies that are crucial to your eBay stores, and then there's some supplies that are helpful but not necessarily a necessity. So first I'm going to start with the absolute necessities, and then I'll kind of talk more about the extra things that you can get once you start getting more sales and getting more serious about this business. So number one is having plain white envelopes and bubble mailers. So plain white envelopes can be used on anything. In my experience, I use it for anything below 10 cards, like 9 cards or below. I will ship with a plain white envelope, or if it's a cheaper card, like below $20, because that's what eBay allows, those all go in a plain white envelope. And the ones I got were from Amazon. It's kind of hard to tell. I did buy the refurbished ones because they were cheaper than the brand new ones, and I figured they're the same exact thing because you can't really damage an envelope that's in a box. And it was like, I think like 20% lower than the brand new price, so I just figured I'd buy that. And I get the 6-inch by 3-inch for the envelopes, and those are like, they're like this big, and that helps a lot because sometimes, like when I used to do there was like longer envelopes like this size, there'd be a huge gap because the card doesn't take up that much space, and then I feel like it would just cause a lot of issues, and sometimes it would get ripped in the post office. So try to get the smaller envelopes if you can, or of course go with the cheaper option. I always go with the cheaper option for shipping supplies because I haven't noticed a difference. Like I've bought expensive ones and I've bought cheap ones, and I've never had any like noticeable difference with them. And they get thrown away anyway, so it's like there's no point in investing a lot of money into something that just is a vessel to get the item to the customer if it's not going to help it get there in a better way. And then the bubble mailers, I use 8x4 bubble mailers and 9x5 bubble mailers. So the 8x4 can hold up to like 50 to 60 cards, and that's like 90% of the time when I use a bubble mailer, it'll be an 8x4. But in the instance where you sell like 60 plus cards, up to 250 cards actually is what it could hold without like stuffing them in there, you can use a 9x5 bubble mailer. And just for reference, this is what a 9x5 bubble mailer looks like. So it's pretty big, and you don't need that all the time. And a 9x5 bubble mailer is more expensive than the 8x4. So if you're on a limited budget and you don't see yourself selling above 60 cards at a time, don't buy the 9x5, just stick with 8x4 bubble mailers. And also, I forgot to mention, all of the items I buy for shipping supplies are from eBay and Amazon. Typically, I don't know why, but eBay has cheaper prices than Amazon, especially for card savers and like sleeves and bubble mailers. I've always found those to be cheaper. Those envelopes I just showed were from Amazon because they were refurbished, so they were cheaper. But typically I buy those from eBay as well. So just when you're buying supplies, try to shop around and look for the cheapest price, and also buy them in bulk because the price per unit goes down significantly, like goes down a ton when you're buying 1,000 items at a time rather than 20 at a time or 100, because shipping these items, they're very bulky. So if you could buy 1,000 at a time, the shipping is a lot cheaper, so then of course they're willing to sell it for a cheaper price. And I found buying in 1,000 increments is the best way to do it, because if you go to like 2,000 or higher, I don't think the price per unit goes down much, but you just of course get more items at a time. And if you know people that are also selling Pokemon cards or like in this business, I'd recommend buying shipping supplies together, so that way you can split them and then pay a cheaper price per unit without having to like put up all that money up front for just shipping supplies, because it can get expensive, especially in the beginning. Like spending $100 to $200 on shipping supplies, it's not like a little bit. It's a pretty big expense. For me, it's not an issue, luckily, but I know that like when you're starting off, it can be an issue. And the second most important items are card savers and top loaders. So I think card savers are better than top loaders because they're a lot thinner and flexible. Like, and you can hold more cards in a card saver than a top loader. Because a top loader you could just put one card, but a card saver you can put. I can fit up to like 8 cards in one without them getting damaged or anything. So card savers are definitely more versatile, and in my experience, I think they get damaged less in transit than a top loader. Because when you think about it, when an envelope is being shipped, it goes through a machine and it like flattens it out. And a top loader, since it's thicker, it's more likely to get stuck or break or just get damaged in the way. So if you had to choose one, I would choose card savers because they're just better overall. And I know some people disagree with that, but from my experience, I've sold tens of thousands of items in the last few years or 2 years. Uh, Card savers have always been better. And they typically cost, I think I bought like 4,000 of them recently, around like 8 cents per card saver. So they're a little bit expensive, but it's a necessity and you need it to ship your items. So there's really nothing to do about that. And then next up is sleeves. So like these just regular card sleeves. You need a sleeve for every single order. Like you should never be shipping an item unsleeved because one, it looks bad. Two, the card will get scratched up and messed up. And three, the customer probably will never buy from you again if you ship your cards without a sleeve and you just put it in a top loader. So always sleeve your cards, and luckily sleeves are extremely cheap. They're called penny sleeves for a reason. You can buy them for like less than a penny. And honestly, I've bought like 1,000 penny sleeves probably like 2 years ago, and I've never had to buy them since because most people ship me cards with a penny sleeves on them. So I will just reuse those rather than having to keep buying more. So that's a big help. So you don't always have to buy them, but just always have them in stock so that you will never have to ship an item unsleeved. And another crucial item to get is these team bags. So I get whatever the cheapest one available is, and they're pretty cheap. I think they're like a penny or two each. You need those whenever you're shipping something in a bubble mailer so that the card doesn't like fly out of the top loader or the card saver and just stays input or like intact. And it just overall keeps the card better protected, it looks better, and it's a very crucial item to have. Another important thing to have is scissors, tape, and scotch tape for like the top loaders. Instead of putting a team bag on each one, I just put a scotch tape on the top. It's pretty simple and like cheap, and it's a lot better than having to put a team bag on each order because one, that's very time consuming, and two, it costs a lot of money to do that on each order. Especially if you're selling like a really cheap card, like a $2 card, and you're doing all that, it's not worth it to use it like team bag, top loader, envelope. Like it just adds up a lot. So use scotch tape for scenarios like that. And also if you're like boxing up an order, if someone buys bulk from you or something, you're gonna need that like heavy duty tape to tape the box up. And then scissors and box cutters are crucial because when you're getting a box in, you can't just be like ripping it open with your hands or doing something crazy like that. You're gonna need a box cutter, and that saved me so much time and like strain because I'm getting in like 20 boxes a week. So being able to open those efficiently and without like strain is just very important, I think, especially in the long haul. And those are all the crucial items for shipping. So let's talk about more like the office supplies next. So most importantly, I think is the best investment I've ever made was getting a thermal label printer. And basically it prints the shipping labels without needing ink. It just uses like thermal laser printing. I don't know how it works, but prints all the labels. You never have to replace the ink. I've never had an issue with it, and I've had it for like 2.5 years now. and it costed me $100 something, I think low hundreds. So I know starting off $100 is not like a small amount, but that has saved me so many hours throughout the years. Probably like if I had to like actually calculate if I were to use an actual printer and then cut it and tape everything, it's probably saved me like an hour a day minimum. So getting a thermal label printer is very important. And then of course you need the 4x6 shipping labels, and you could find those. They're very cheap, like on Amazon. They're probably like a penny each, not even. And another important thing for shipping is having these like just regular like cardboard things. You can cut them out from boxes you get in or from ETV boxes that are empty that you don't need. Just like break them down, cut them out so you could add them into your packages. And it gives a lot of extra protection, which is very important when you're shipping expensive items. Like you don't want it to get smushed or damaged, and then you lose the money from the sale because you're gonna have to refund the buyer, and two, your card is damaged, so you lost all the value from that. So always keep extra cardboard around so you could use it in your shipments. And then when it comes to storing your items, you're gonna need two things that are very crucial, which are these. This is a 4 row card box, but I like the 5 rows better, and I would recommend getting those. I usually get them on eBay. They're very cheap, like a few dollars each. And you can hold up to like 7,000 cards in a 5 row box. And these help a lot because it keeps the cards upright. You can easily like flip through them and find the card you need. And just storing your inventory in them makes it a lot more efficient and organized compared to just like putting it in a random ETB box and then putting it to the side or putting it in a stack. And it just helps a lot with organization. And then speaking of those card boxes, you're gonna need these like card dividers. I buy them on eBay, but you could easily make your own. Just get like a cardboard or piece of paper and then like the name of whatever it is at the top and then put it inside the card divider or card box. And that's about it for the supplies that I use and that I think you guys would need for your eBay stores. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I'm able to ship all of my packages for like 10 cents worth of supplies, because the sleeves I get for free because people just sell me their cards in sleeves already. The card savers, I spend like 7 to 8 cents on them. The envelope is like a penny, so that's like 9, 10 cents. And then if it's a bubble mailer order, it does cost more. It's probably like 15 cents. But of course, if I'm shipping something in a bubble mailer, it typically sold for like an expensive amount. So paying that extra 6 cents is not a big deal. And I think overall that has helped my store a lot because I've shipped like 80,000 items in the last 2 years. So saving like 10 cents, even if it's 10 cents on each one, that's $8,000 just saved from shipping supplies. So you got to think of it like that. Every penny matters on these shipping supplies, and you're going to want to get the cheapest supplies possible because they all work the same. And I've never had an issue with getting cheaper supplies. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you need more help on stuff like this, join my Patreon and feel free to ask as many questions as you want. I'd be happy to help you all, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.